Okay, so I'm giving up on the HMV because I don't have the valve here, so I'll have to order that one in, and maybe a few others from that set. Doesn't matter if I have some spares. But, okay, so we're going to go on to the AWA now, and I'll very quickly swap out these two big electrolytics, which are so troublesome. They're the older ones. So here we go. Okay, so this is a bit interesting. I'm trying to actually remove the clock itself, and these little, the black knobs that were on the front, focus, there we go. Yes, I've discovered you pull the black piece off the front and then you unscrew that to loosen off the clamp on the back there. Probably can't see that very well, but yeah. So here we are with the clock face almost off, or at least the bezel of the clock, and just very gently doing this. This is very thin tin plate. There we go. Yeah. So this is extremely thin. That should come out. Yep. Yeah. So this is very thin tin plate. And of course the plastic bit. Okay, so does that get us any closer to getting into the radio? Absolutely not. Excuse me. I would have thought there might be screws from this side holding it in, but it doesn't appear to be. I can't quite work out what. Oh, I see. It's just slid in behind two clamps on the back of this plate. So, but it's probably going to be wired in, isn't it? So we'll turn this around. Yes, there's two clamps there. So we'll unplug this. Probably can't see, but these seem to have to come out first. These, yeah, these spacers. So hopefully they'll come off easily without too much. Yes. Yes. Now, what do we do here? Okay, so that is welded to the front. Okay, so that just slides back, and then the clock lifts out. It's amazing. So there's the clock mechanism. AWA 2-4. There's a number there, but it's rubbed off. Another stamp there, which I can't really see. So they're probably quality control stamps. Just untangle the soldering iron. So it's I thought the problem might be down in here, that contact switch, but that is actually making contact. So it might be in this one. Might be the actual switch. No, there's another contact there. So let's have a look. So it's manual. Oops. Okay, so there's a lever in there. You can see this. Let's try and change the lighting a bit. Bring this camera over. And I can put this light up here. Okay, so this down in here, which one is it? That one's contacting there. This one doesn't seem to be making contact. There's a lever there which holds that in place. Ah, I wonder if that... Aha! Here we go. So I don't know whether you can see... I don't know whether you can see in there. But that lever there seems to go over that one there, that plastic one, to make contact. So I'm going to have to take this off camera to try and fiddle with that. I have no idea how that came off. It's connected to that one there. Yep. So when that slumber somehow or another turns, this must turn the radio off or something like that. Yes, it makes contact down the back there too. Okay. So let's see how we go with this. Quite sure how the... Yep. So that turns that, which levers across... Don't know whether you can see that or not. This levers across into that, which makes contact here with this switch, which then makes contact with this contact over here. Okay, so let's just pop this back in. Temporarily. And we'll see how we go. Okay, there we go. Plug this back in. And then we'll turn it on again. Okay, so our clock's going. Wow, yes. Now we're lighting up. Excellent. The valve's coming up. I think they are. Yep. Ah, yes. We have success. There is so much interference in this place. Wow. So all that was no, turn off Michael Jackson. All it was then was the little plastic thing had come off the lever. Now I don't know how that would have happened. It's making an incredible hum, so there's obviously something else completely wrong with it as well.
On track of these Indians and the decision making in terms of the batting lineup.
Summerlin again to Rana.
Wow. This isn't too bad. It's
Roughly three, which
there's no aerial on this at all, just the
and many other organizations and individuals inside of government, outside of government, in higher education and civil society. We're really scrambling
automatic
to get
level.
as many people out as we could before the transition, but effort hasn't stopped. It's just moved now into what I call the
Okay. Now the $64 question is, does the slumber work? It appears not to work. Or am I tempting fate doing this? Okay, pull on, push off. Okay, so that's our alarm off. Okay. Okay, it seems to have come off of a wheel. So I'm going to, yeah. Oops. There goes the second hand hitting my finger, and I've bent it. Okay. So I'll just wait for that to go to 12 o'clock. We'll turn it off, that'll do. Right. Let's unplug this clock again. Ooh, that's getting hot. Ow. And pull the clock out again. So we've got this rod that goes in the back of the clock. So this is a Smiths of English. So it says Smiths English clock, made in London. So this is a British clock. Yep, so we can turn the time around. Yep, so that goes on to there, and that changes the time. Okay. So I'm not quite sure how that is going to re-engage. So, okay, what I'm going to do then is put the clock back in. And okay, it's sitting in there. We'll just put that back into its slot. And yeah, we'll run it for a while and see what happens to all the alarms and all that sort of thing. Obviously I can't play the radio with all that happening, so we'll be back. Bye. We're back again, and seems to be doing what it's supposed to be doing, except that the slumber isn't connected anymore, because I broke off this little piece of plastic which was jammed in. Yes, this piece of plastic which was jammed in somehow or another into the mechanism. So I'll work out where that goes, and I'll glue that back on again 1 year. Not at the moment though, because I'm going to keep this radio because it's so nice. Yes, so it's working quite well at the moment. There's a lot of interference in this area, so yeah, and we're right down the very bottom of a hill, so yeah, but this is working very, very well.
Glasgow Climate Conference, known as COP26, it's expected to feature a who's particularly when the repression. David Lipson.
At the United Nations headquarters this week, the UK's Prime Minister Boris
So
Johnson
what I'll do is I'll try and get the knobs back on the clock and screw it all back together again and put the case back on. So yeah, it's missing a globe up there. I can't get any globes at the moment because everything is well and truly shut. I'm not doing a everything is well and truly shut, and I'm not doing a click and collect for a couple of globes because yeah, it costs more in petrol to go down to the shop. Okay, this has turned out a bit shorter than expected. The AWA is back in its case, although it's not screwed together and I don't have the knobs with me. They're over in the storage area. So yes, it all works quite well, and apart from the fact that we don't have a very good aerial in this house. And we're down the bottom of a hill too, which doesn't help. So that's the end of this video, I guess. Very short and sweet. It wasn't as expected. I expected a lot more work on it, and all it turned out to be was a silly little bit of plastic that was jammed in the mechanism of the clock. So I'll be able to put this one back to bed. Yep, so catch you soon. Bye.
Staff will be vaccinated. So after that 1 December date, it will really be up to the business as to what decisions they take. New South Wales might be confident, but what about the rest of the country?
The love of the baseline and the sideline.
A new ad campaign is urging Queenslanders to get vaccinated.
For Sunday brunches and family lunches.
But it seems those family lunches may not include what for many families is the most important one of the year, Christmas lunch. The Queensland Premier, Anastasia Palaszczuk, isn't making any promises about reopening targets until this week's National Cabinet meeting.
Look, we want as many Queenslanders as possible to get vaccinated, and we've got National Cabinet happening this Friday. I'm really looking forward to that, and hopefully we'll get our papers before the meeting. And of course, we want to see that updated Doherty modelling released to the public. So I'm really looking forward to seeing that this week.
The Queensland Premier has asked the Doherty Institute for further modelling to be done to include the population data of unvaccinated children.
I'm looking forward to the revised Doherty modelling being released to the public. So hopefully we'll get that on Friday at National Cabinet, and the Prime Minister will release all of that publicly so everyone can see it.
Speaking on Channel 7 earlier in the day, the Deputy Prime Minister and Nationals leader Barnaby Joyce was scathing of the Queensland Premier's failure to commit to the initial Doherty Institute plan for reopening.
Obviously the Premier has decided that she knows better than the Doherty Institute. That's a pretty remarkable thing. I didn't know she was an immunologist. I didn't know she was so expert in virology. I didn't know her epidemiology was so up to speed that she's prepared to put her views ahead of the Doherty Institute and send businesses broke. Queensland is not locking people out anymore. They're locking their own people in.
The Queensland Premier says she acknowledges the heartache the closed border is causing.
It's a very tough situation. I just spoke to a gentleman this morning, and his parents can't come up to his daughter's wedding. The daughter's getting married on the weekend. It is very tough circumstances at the moment, and that's because New South Wales is in lockdown.
Queensland's Chief Health Officer Jeanette Young says Queenslanders and business owners should still prepare for the borders to reopen.
Of course, yes, we should all prepare and hope and get everyone vaccinated. That's the most important thing business can do, is to be out there saying, just get vaccinated, because the more people who are vaccinated, the more likely we can remove those last remaining restrictions.
But it's not just the Queensland government potentially spoiling Christmas lunch. The Tasmanian government says it won't be opening its borders to high-risk areas until the entire eligible population has access to a choice of COVID-19 vaccines. Liberal MP Michael Ferguson says his state is still behind the national plan.
That's Rachel Mealy reporting there, and the ACT has today recorded its first COVID death. Well, business groups in Victoria have welcomed a plan to trial a so-called vaccinated economy in some regional parts of the state. But they say the government needs to ensure operators will have the right to legally refuse entry to the unvaccinated. It's all part of a plan for Victoria to slowly open up despite persistently high case numbers, as Bridget Fitzgerald reports.
After months of uncertainty and disappointment, finally some relief.
It means that the industry has a bit of a glimmer of hope.
A plan to open parts of the Victorian economy is welcome news to Victorian businesses struggling under the yoke of lockdown. Felicia Mariani is the Chief Executive of the Victorian Tourism Industry Council.
The trials mean that we are planning for reopening. We are moving toward hitting those targets, and we're moving toward getting open. And that's what really desperately needed to hear.
From Monday.